An urgent media briefing is being called by unions on the one hand this morning and yourselves at the same time. Is the strike over?
No, it's not over. As we mentioned at the press briefing yesterday, we continue to engage. We had a very lengthy engagement last night, starting in the afternoon at 3, ended around midnight, after midnight.
Were you part of that engagement?
I couldn't be. I give the final mandate as the board member, and also it's an operational matter. I cannot be involved in negotiations.
But surely you were getting updates from your team inside there. What have they told you this morning about the atmosphere inside those talks?
At the start of the discussion, I was there just to create the bridge, because in the morning I'd been with the union at DPE. So I had to create that context and ensure that the discussions start on a footing that was a continuation of the cordial discussions that had started at DPE. Maybe I shouldn't be using the word cordial, I should be saying constructive engagement that had started at DPE. So after creating that ground and the teams agreeing the focus of their engagement, I then left. We got feedback around 9 where what the state of play was, and again at about midnight when the discussions had not succeeded in moving forward.
What's the stumbling block from what you hear?
The stumbling block is the issue of the salary increases. As we have consistently indicated, SAA does not have money for salary increases.
All right, let me actually come in exactly there at that point, because this issue of salary increase has been a major one. But I want us to move this discussion forward, because that's what you've told us since this strike started. SAA has not made a profit in the last 5-6 years. That's according to Mr. Fredericks, who's your acting CFO. Add to that statement those of the Minister, Pravin Gordhan, who said last week, this airline is not too big to fail. Simply put, it's not a priority. Do you see a future for this airline in its current form as the acting board chairperson?
In its current form, I would say a lot has to change, and that is why we have accelerated the turnaround strategy, ensuring that we strengthen its implementation and to turn the business around to sustainability and profitability, so that the ratios that we look at in an airline are in line with the benchmarks, and that is the discussion we're having with the unions.
What's the solution, Ms. Mgoduso? Is the solution going forward an equity partner?
You only get an equity partner if you want to be meaningful in what you're doing, if the business that you are trying to attract people into is healthy. SAA is not healthy right now. That's number one. Number two, you can only get up to a certain percentage in terms of equity partner.
And that percentage is what?
25%.
And that person who's going to buy a stake, therefore, in SAA is really not getting any decision-making.
The majority is still in government's hand. Yeah.
So,
I did not say you
asked that attractive.
You asked me whether an equity partner is a solution, and I'm still trying to get to the point where I'm saying what I see as a solution. The solution is turning this business around, which is what this board is seized with, which means belt tightening for everybody, which means ensuring that we have an efficient business which is fit for purpose.
But you've been paying your executive excessive salaries from what reports say. How is that belt tightening?
What does it mean we're paying our executives?
How much do you pay your leader at SAA Technical?
I'm not sure. I saw what was quoted.
Has his salary doubled from the previous executive?
That was negotiated by SAA executives, and my job is not to look at salaries. My job is to look at equity in terms of what the various bands are earning, and I have not seen an unnecessary spike in there.
All right, Ms. Mgoduso.
So we are trying to turn the business around. That's number one. Number two, we have to go through these tough discussions with everybody, because we cannot afford to increase salary, the cost of employment at SAA, when we do not even have the money to effect those salary increases. We have to go out and borrow so that we can pay increases. It doesn't make sense. And that's the message that we're trying to put across. That let's look at other ways of ensuring that we cut the costs, we contain and reduce the costs that we have.
Ms. Mgoduso, I thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we'll have another discussion around this. She is the acting board chairperson at SAA, Thandeka Mgoduso.